Mr. President, I will be very brief. I rise in support of the Kerry Amendment, and I do so for two reasons. Number one, while I want to applaud Senator Baucus and Senator Grassley for their work on expanding health insurance to 3.2 million more children, we should be aware that that expansion only increases coverage for 1/3 of children in this country who are uninsured. This is the United States of America, and we should not continue to be embarrassed by the fact that we remain the only country in the industrialized world that does not provide health insurance for all of our children. So going forward for 3.2 million children is undoubtedly a step forward. We have, however, a long, long way to go, and the Kerry Amendment would take us closer. The second point that I would make deals with national priorities and the direction in which we believe that our country should go. Mr. President, I hear that a lot of my friends are talking about the expense involved in providing health insurance to our children. This particular bill would cost us $35 billion over a 5-year period. Is $35 billion a lot of money? It is. Is it worth spending that money to cover 3.2 million children? It is. And yet I find it ironic that the President of the United States and others are telling us that we cannot afford this expenditure at the same time as many of them, the President certainly, is telling us that we need to repeal completely the estate tax, which only applies to the wealthiest 0.2% of our population. If one were to repeal the estate tax, one family, the Walton family that owns Walmarts, one family would receive tax breaks worth $32.7 billion for one family. So the debate today is whether we spend $35 billion to cover over a 5-year period 3.2 million children, or, as the President and others would have us do, give $32.7 billion in tax breaks to one family. This is an issue of national priorities. So very briefly, as I see my friend from Iowa standing, very briefly, it seems to me we have got to move not only to provide health insurance to all of our children, but in fact we need to move to a national health care program which guarantees health care to every man, woman, and child in this country, and we can. Lastly, well, maybe I won't go to lastly. Maybe I'll conclude on that note. This is a moral issue. We've got to cover our children. This is an issue of national priorities. And for all of those who think we're spending too much money, they may want to think twice about the hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks they've given to the wealthiest 1% and ideas that they have for the future. I yield my time and thank you, Mr. President.